tired legs, don't let chronic leg pain put a pause to your daily activities. Treat the problem. Here to explain, please welcome Dr. Carlos Hamilton from the Hamilton Vein Center, along with his patient, Kathy Tucker. Hi there.
Thank you. Hi.
Okay, we've mentioned a couple of times today how there are procedures that were done the old way and people were afraid of, but there's now new technology, and that's the case right here.
That's exactly right. And maybe I should just let Ms. Tucker tell her story.
You had vein stripping done before.
I had 30 years ago.
Yeah, which even, it just sounds crazy to me when you say vein stripping.
That's why I didn't think anything else could be done.
Yeah.
Until I got a stasis ulcer.
Okay.
And my doctor sent me to Dr. Hamilton, which changed everything for me.
And Dr. Hamilton, when she says ulcer, a lot of times people think that's like a dermatological issue, not a vein issue, but that is one of the things that happens when your veins aren't working properly.
That's absolutely right. Usually it's on the inside of the ankle. Sometimes it can be anywhere on kind of the lower leg, but the blood backs up in there. There's not enough oxygen in there. The tissue breaks down. It just can't heal. And we see people that have had these for years, decades, and they just keep going. And once you treat the veins, they heal up.
Yeah, so what they did before was the vein stripping, which is a long kind of a process and a lot of downtime, right?
Absolutely.
So what do they do today? What did you do for her today?
Okay, so instead of doing the vein stripping, what we do is we go in there with ultrasound and find the veins that aren't working, and then we close those, putting a little catheter in there, very similar to what Dr. Fisher was saying. Put the little catheter in, instead of putting little beads in, what we do is heat the inside of the vein, and then the veins grow closed, and it keeps the blood from going the wrong way.
What do you feel when this is happening?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. With the little catheter was in there.
All local anesthetic. No pain, no distress, no stress, because the procedures are done in his office. I drove myself to the doctor, drove myself home, never had any pain.
Yeah, and then after the procedure,
nothing.
Yeah, nothing. You just go about your day.
That's it.
Did you believe
even yard work, everything, anything?
Yeah. Did you believe that it could be that easy, given that you went through the craziness before?
No. No, and at one point he was removing a vein from this leg. It's called a phlebectomy, and I had a big tear rolling down my face, and the whole surgical team said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I said, "I just feel so grateful to be able to have this fixed." And that's the truth. Such gratitude.
Yeah. Because Dr. Hamilton, that is the issue, is that it stops a lot of people in their tracks, literally.
It absolutely does. I mean, it limits people's ability to walk around, play with their children, their grandchildren. We see people every day that have had to stop working because their legs have bothered them so much. You can treat them and get them back to where they were 30 years ago.
What we're seeing today is that all doctors are not the same, and they're a specialist for a reason. So I want to make this point clear.
Yes.
Not everybody knows how to treat what you're treating, whether it's the restless leg syndrome, whether it's the heavy leg, all those types of things. Not everybody does what you do.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we only treat veins, and that's why we treat more patients. We've done more procedures than anybody in Southeast Texas, and we really focus on that. And you've got to be really good at ultrasound to do it, and just the minimally invasive procedures, and it works great. It works fantastic.
Let's run through some of the symptoms that people may be feeling, or some of the things they may be seeing on their legs, which would indicate it's probably a vein issue.
Sure. Tired, heavy legs, leg cramps at night, restless legs at night are also associated with vein problems. Darkening of the skin around the ankles is a classic finding with this. Ulcers, like we talked about. A lot of people, their feet will turn purple. The people that have their feet turn purple will know exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody else has a hard time.
You see people walking around with it,
and they've got really purple feet, and then if they elevate them, it goes away. That's because the veins aren't working right. When they lift them up, the blood drains back out of them. So those are some of the big ones. Certainly bulging veins. Bulging veins are not just a cosmetic issue. They mean that there's a flow problem going on. The pressure's increased in these veins, and that's what leads to the skin breaking down. So if they're bulging veins, skin changes, insurance covers this. And the nice thing about this time of the year is that a lot of people have met their insurance deductibles, so frequently these procedures are completely covered by insurance and Medicare. And wearing compression stockings this time of the year is much more tolerable than in August as well.
And the fact is that you don't have the downtime that you used to have, that you can have it done and go back to work, have it done on Friday, go back to work, or have it done and then go back to work the very next day.
I'll tell you what, we treat people first thing in the morning and they go to work. We treat people all day long. They go to the gym right after it. They're lifting, weights, bicycle, jogging, Zumba class, whatever it is.
My favorite is a patient he had, and he calls to see how she's doing. She says, "I'm in the mall right now. Can't talk to you. Got things to buy." So in other words, if you're having any issues with your legs at all, even if it was just aesthetic, so you thought, you can also deal with that type of stuff as well. You can go in for a free consultation to any one of the 4 Houston area locations for the Hamilton Vein Center. For more information, call 281-565-0033. 281-565-0033. They'll let you know the location that's closest to you, or visit their website at hamiltonvein.com. hamiltonvein.com. Thank you, and you have some yard work to get back to, don't you? All right. Welcome back. If you have problems with rashes or ulcers or other skin irritations, you probably think you need to see a dermatologist, but you might need to see a totally different kind of doctor to find out what lies beneath. Dr. Carlos Hamilton from the Hamilton Vein Center is back to explain why, and he is joined by his patient, Cliff English. Please welcome them to the show this morning.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oftentimes what we see on top of the skin we think is a dermatology issue, when really it is about what lies beneath and in the vein structure.
You're absolutely right, especially when these kind of skin issues are around the ankle and the lower leg, because that's where the big problem from the veins shows up, especially in people without the big bulging veins. Then the people tend to get darker skin around the ankles. They can get ulcers and get an itchy rash that can try steroid cream after steroid cream, and it just never takes care of it.
Because it's not taking care of the problem, it's just trying to address the symptom.
It's just all this inflammation that comes from the veins not working right and stretching out the veins underneath there. And so those are really important things. And a lot of times what we find is people have gone to doctor after doctor after doctor, and it just hasn't been recognized as an underlying vein problem because there aren't bulging veins. So anyway, those are some things to keep in mind.
Okay, now Cliff, what was happening with your leg?
Well, it's kind of a long story short. I was in a bar fight / robbery back in '91.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. And I got the bad end of the stick. I got shot with a 12 gauge. So
wow.
I was 21 years old. This was on Christmas Eve back in '91. Anyways, they said that years later they couldn't take out all the steel. At the time it was steel, so they said, well, leave it in. If it was lead, they'd have to take it all out. So at the time they said, well, just leave it in. And years later, you're probably going to have some problems with your leg, be it arthritic, some with your veins, what have you. So, and they're pretty much right on the money, because around 40 years old, I started having some issues. My leg would throb, it'd get hot, it'd get cold. At night, I'd get cramps, I'd start to itch my leg, and my veins got...
And this is your leg right there.
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's pretty
So
pretty gnarly.
What was happening here, Dr. Hamilton? And the thing is that you don't have to get shot in the leg for something like this to happen.
No, you don't. You don't.
People who've had a much more boring life have legs like this as well. You see this a lot, but...
That's exactly right.
So what was happening?
I think that certainly getting shot in the leg with the 12 gauge does not help the situation. True. Cliff's problems were also farther up in the leg too. And it may not have shown up for another, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years, who knows, if he hadn't gotten shot in the leg. But the fact is that part of his problem was up in the thigh, but, with all the kind of buckshot all over there, it brought this out. So anyway, these veins stopped working, they started bulging, and they were really, it's a little bit hard to tell, they're really good size. And Cliff had a lot of, problems with it, like he was saying. And so the real thing on this is the first treatment we do is go up in the thigh to close the source of the problem.
And we say go up in the thigh. This is a cool thing about today, as opposed to yesteryear. You're not like slicing open a whole thigh and going and doing surgery, right?
Absolutely not. We're not pulling out any big veins.
You don't strike me as that kind of guy after getting shot in the leg.
No, it was actually... it was pain-free. The whole deal was, I was totally impressed. I got to say something about this doc, though. He's a cool guy, man. I'm in the IT industry, so I did a lot of research. Even if you're buying a TV, man, you want to look up, see what kind of reviews you got on him. I cannot find a bad thing on this guy anywhere on the internet. I looked everywhere. I was trying to find something. I was like, let me just find one thing, so give me a reason not to go see him,
Yeah.
But I didn't, so I went and saw him, and man, it was like, he was great. I didn't feel any pain in the procedures. Everybody there was cool.
In fact, if you lift up your leg
yes, ma'am.
here,
Actually, now I just had my last surgery was last Wednesday, so you would think there'd probably be a lot of, bruising and swelling, and there's nothing there. You might see a little couple marks like maybe mosquito bites, less than West Nile.
Yeah, where your entry point is, right? No, West Nile. Okay.
Every kid on the sunglasses, my leg's a little bright, so I haven't seen sun in a long time. But
oh wow.
Yeah.
And again,
of course it's still healing. You can see where they made incisions in me. And this is for a few days. It's healed relatively fast. I guess the human body's pretty resilient, you know.
Yeah,
So.
and what brought you in, of course, is what brings a lot of people is that they finally, their legs, like you said, hot, cold, painful, they feel heavy. And again, people think it's a muscular thing. It's not. That's a good sign that your veins aren't working properly.
That's absolutely right. You know, Cliff had a combination of all of the symptoms, but he also didn't like the way that, you know, the veins looked and stuff. And so, you know, we're able to take care of, you know, both of those things now. I mean, you can tell it's a huge
physically
improvement.
and cosmetically.
And he's back to exercising,
absolutely.
doing everything.
I mean, I didn't want to, you know, being, well, a semi-young guy. You know, you don't want to, you know, you want to wear some shorts, bust a move out on the beach or something, or even if
Bust a move out on the beach.
I'm just saying, you know, you don't want to,
Yes.
you don't want to walk around. You know, everybody in my family, my girl, my mom. Oh, hey, love y'all, by the way. I want to give a shout out. She's probably watching right now in Florida.
I want to know where I can catch your shows, like 3 shows daily somewhere, doing some stand-up.
No, so I mean the fact that it helped me two ways, you know, physically and cosmetically. So I mean, I think it's a great thing if somebody and people, you would think that most people have to be elderly to experience these problems or something. That's not true. I mean,
it's right, because Dr. Hamilton, it can be hereditary.
Absolutely.
It can be kind of the job you have if you're on your feet all day.
You're
pressure.
absolutely right, and it gets everybody. I mean, we saw a 15-year-old girl last week, and we take care of people all the way up through their mid-90s. Some of these pictures are.
These aren't me,
and we've
by
seen
the way.
people like
These are not
you know.
Cliff.
But I've seen
Just letting
people
you
like
know.
this before,
Yes.
and I thought it was a dermatology issue.
Absolutely, and most people do. And so this is the darkening of the skin around the ankles. It can have a whole bunch of different forms. You may or may not see big veins on it. All of this is from vein problem right here. And the next step on these things is it turns into an ulcer, which will probably be coming up here soon. And that, once it gets to that point, the ulcer can be treated forever. We see people like that big old hole is
So you
an
want to get it
ulcer.
sooner than later,
yes,
obviously.
you want to get it before that point. And you know, once those ulcers, we've seen people with them that have had them for years and years and years. And then once you treat the veins, which are the cause of it, that stuff, it gets better.
Yeah, but I just want to point out that I've
neat.
actually seen you do a procedure before, and the person got right up and walked on out. People can go, you know,
Absolutely.
running, go
Right
shopping,
away.
go whatever,
Right
right
away.
away. So it's not, again, if you heard of grandma had a vein surgery years ago,
This
it's
is
not
a
what we do
different
today.
deal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This, I mean, you get up, people go right back to work, to the gym, kids, whatever they've got to do.
All right, Dr. Hamilton, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, ma'am.
much. Good
Appreciate
looking
you.
leg.
Oh,
You
thank
can
you,
go
thank
in for a free consultation to any one of the 4 Houston area locations for the Hamilton Vein Center. For more information, you can call 281-565-0033, 281-565-0033, or visit their website at hamiltonvein.com. Thanks again.